Here. First of all, thank you for joining, guys. Let me know where you're from. It's always important to me. Yeah, hi again. Ahora voy a hacer un video para el revés. Now the backhand, guys. And if you guys didn't subscribe yet, check my YouTube channel out, Tennis Haus. We have long videos on there. And let's get to the backhand. As well for the backhand as well for the forehand. You need to have, and I'm not going to go through it in detail again, but you need to make sure that you have a good wide base for the split step so you can turn and you know where the ball is coming. So if you split, you know it comes to the forehand, you turn that way, backhand that way. Not going to repeat that, but don't forget it is so important that you split step. So now the shoulder turn on the backhand. So on the forehand, the left hand was adjusting the racket head and you were turning, and you keep this left hand longer on, you stay longer sideways, belly button points to the side, you hit, it points forward, you're done, it points to the other side. Now, if you look at the backhand, we go first with the grip. So the most common grip people have, it's like a continental grip on the bottom and the eastern grip on the top. And if you hold the grip, make sure there's no space between this thumb here and this hand. Some players have the racket like this. I personally feel like you lose some power on the shots. That's just my 2 cents, my personal feel. So I try to make sure that the hands are together. So if you're a beginner intermediate player, continental grip, you know, if you have the bevels, you have the top one is 1, this is 2. You put the index knuckle on the heel pad on bevel number 2. For most players, the junior players, too complicated, just put the racket under the left armpit, go around like this and pull it out like a sword, and you have a pretty good continental on the right hand. And the left hand goes on top. It's very important. Why is that important? When you teach for a while, you see all kinds of backhands, and one of the biggest mistakes is when the right hand goes so far over that they hit kind of like a backhand baseball backhand. I see that a lot, and they cannot get under the ball properly. This is because the right hand is blocking them. So if you don't teach your kids the right hand continental, or at least the eastern, but preferably continental, they're gonna have a hard time going under the ball. They're missing a lot, and I think that slips a lot when I watch like other players. They do that, and I think that's important to mention that the right hand, if that's a continental, you have good maneuverability here, and you can control the ball good and get under the ball. Very important. So two-handed backhand, guys. First thing is the shoulder turn again. It's the same thing. When you have a player, make them go left and right with the racket, and let them coil the upper against the lower body. So now they feel there is a stretch here, and they feel there's something happening. Then you let them go to here, you make them have the grip, and they see they're coiled now, and then they put the foot across, and they swing, they see they can uncoil, and that's like a natural thing. When you hit it, you want to have it nice and fluent, right? So the turn is so important that they feel they coil in the upper body and turn it. So when you have a turn, so now I still see too often that the players, when they turn, they go straight down they go straight down. So they come, the ball comes, they go straight down and hit like this. What is the biggest problem when the players get straight down with the racket? The perception of the ball and the awareness. What kind of ball do I get? That's the thing that most players struggle with when they're beginner and intermediate. They don't know how high the ball is going to come. They don't know how much spin the ball has. All that will lead, if they drop the racket early, at the beginning straight down, after the bounce, they're not so good yet that they're going to always be at the right moment at the contact point. So a lot of times the ball bounce high, racket is low, and they're going to hit the ball like this and it goes out. So in the ideal world from the beginning, what I like to do is when they turn, that the racket head is always above the wrist, and it's always a little bit higher than the ball that's coming after the bounce, and then this is as a reference point so important. When you prepare early like this, and the ball, as soon as the ball bounces, it's almost where you are. I like that reference point, and that's when actually you shift the weight to the front leg, and the arms drop down, and you hit the ball. And you don't have. So when you guys, when you're split and turn, and the ball bounces, it comes fast to you now. Now you don't have time for anything else anymore. When the ball bounces, you're in this position, and then you go and hit. So it comes, and you go and hit. But key is that you understand, in order to hit a really good topspin and a really good shot is, so when you drop the racket, I think old school bollettieri, they always used the butt cap as a reference point, and the butt cap points forward. So that's now when the ball is coming to you after the bounce, that's when you drop the racket head smoothly, get under it, and roll it up. And too many players in this moment, even when they have the racket up, they go too fast. It's like you're here and you control your take back. So make sure that the tip of the racket points down and you go from below the ball and you go up. Yeah, Nick Kyrgios, when you remember, a couple of years ago, he's one of those guys who hit the backhand like this, very stiff. He changed it a little bit. I was never the biggest fan of backhands pushed in like this. So what I like to tell my players is, when they're turned here, to smoothly drop the racket head. And then here, now in this position, you can't have stiff wrists to get in this position. That's the position where you want to go and brush up on the ball. So beginner players, intermediate, when you see they hit like flat to the ball. There's no spin on there. Once you're here, control the take back, get under the ball, and that's where you roll it up. So you need to be, the butt cap needs to point forward in order to get to that point. And what is one of the biggest mistakes when we have beginner intermediate player, especially men, they're so tight always, right? If you're on a forehand, they want to squeeze everything so tight. So if you hold a racket, maybe if 10 is like breaking it and 0 dropping, you hold it on 3, smooth and nice. And then once you learn to hold, no matter what, you split your turn, you search the ball. While you search, if you learn to hold the racket head up, and then it bounces, and when it bounces and you start to roll on the front leg and shift your weight, that's when it drops, and then you go and hit that ball. Very, very important. I'm going to go to the one-handed backhand in a second. So that's very important. The next thing is, when you get to the contact, think about it as you take your right hand away, and you stay with the ball as long as you can, and you go up. Just think about it's a left-handed forehand. When you hold the racket two-handed, you just take the right hand away and hit a couple of balls on the ball machine like this. And then earlier when I mentioned you guys, some players who have it like this, let them use the continental grip, let them slice for 1.5 minutes with the continental grip, right? Then you let them hit left-handed forehands, and then you tell them to go back to the slice grip and put the left hand on there and then hit it. You're gonna be amazed how that's gonna trickfully improve the backhand. So that's a good one. So when you're done with the shot, the butt cap points forward. When you look at Novak, this is almost like at the 90 degrees. And I pick Novak because he's the best backhand in the world. And so he's like this when he's done. So he hits it, extends nicely through, and then he's like this. And you can put a volleyball under the armpits, I always say. That shows me that you extended the arm well. What do we see too often? That the right arm elbow is tucked in and they hit like this. They don't let go, the player, so they can't control the ball. Yeah, that's on the two-handed. If you have any questions. And one more thing is, think about you draw a C in the air. So you here, you drop the racket and you hit it. I always like to work with visualization. I think that's helpful. And then one-handed backhand, guys. So I'm a one-hander as well. What is really important, I'm not going to repeat it. For the one-hander, it's again preference. Like I was waiting always with my forehand grip. Some players wait with the backhand grip and then they switch. But if you're a one-handed player, let's say you wait with your forehand grip, you need to make sure that you know how to change the grip. And for the intermediate and like let's say beginner players, so you just open the hand up a little bit and turn the racket a notch to the right and re-grip. But your wrist is not changing. Remember that when you do a grip change, I hold the grip like this, straight down. And what I do now is I just open my hand and turn it wherever I want it. So for a backhand, if it's straight here, I turn it to the right and I re-grip. So it's not the wrist that changes, it's the racket in the hands that changes, okay? So let's go, I'm right here, the ball's coming, I split, it's the backhand, so I open my hand and turn the racket a notch to the right. And then, as a one-hander, the left hand stays on that racket. So you split, the left hand stays on here, same thing, you search the ball, and when you start to drop the racket here, that's when your left hand will go up, back, and you go up here and finish like this. So it stays on there, it's very important, no matter where you are. If the ball's lower, it stays here. You let it go, and then you go up. And yeah, one-handed backhand naturally, if you look at team, it's so beautiful. Yeah, it's a great shot if you have it. And you know what, to be honest, people always ask me, do you always teach a two-handed backhand? No, not at all. If I see a kid, I always let them hit both. And I feel like we take away from the kids that maybe are talented enough to hit a one-hand. I mean, look at Roger, look at Team, look at Tsitsipas. That the one-hander is there, right? So if you would have forced them to hit two-handed at the beginning, it wouldn't have worked. So you just have to see what you work with, right? Some kid's gonna come out, I had that, and they just stand there and bam, and hit that, and you're surprised. They can do that and can handle that. Obviously, it's easier for kids to return with two hands and start off, but there are kids that can do it from the bat with one hand. So don't take that away from the kids. Let them show you if they can do it or not. You will see that immediately if I have coaches on here. And I know you know that, but I just want to repeat that. So if you have questions, guys, feel free to ask me, and I will try to answer. I'll go backwards now. So which head size is racket better for one hand or back? And look, I always say if you have a strong person in front of you that can handle a racket, I always say 98 is a good racket size, and not to lose the strings. If you have someone who maybe is not so, cannot create so much pace himself, maybe 104 with a looser string pattern is better for that person. All right. A demo with the left hand, it's the same thing. You just hold the racket and you turn it. You hold the racket, you turn it to the left, and then you have your backhand grip. So you just go, it's the same thing. You hold it up, you drop it, and then you go back and hit it. You just turn it to the other side. Super easy. When moving, where is the tracking position? The tracking, like, what do you mean exactly with it? So when you're moving on a one-hander or two-hander, arms are up, the racket head is up, and no matter where you hold it up. When the ball bounces, that's your signal to start to go forward. Kind of roughly a rule of thumb. I looked through so many slow motions. That's when the ball bounces, they start to initiate the forward motion. When do I go to teach? As I said earlier, one-handed backhand if you really feel like your players can handle it. What else do we have? A lot of people joined. Strings to look at the back of the body. With the string on the one, the strings to look at that. I never heard of it. When I understand it right, can you? Some old school teaches strings to look at the back of the body. Oh, what I like with the back of the body. What I like was so if your opponent can see your shoulder blade when you turn, you have a pretty good turn for one-hander. So I guess if that's what you're referring to, like it's still the same. Like that means it just shows that you coiled in the upper body. Because if you don't coil, you don't have support and momentum on the shot. You need to coil to let the racket go and hit. So if it's that's for sure. Yeah, look, so switching from 2 to 1, I did a couple of times. So some players come from baseball and you know, they just have a better one-hander if they work on it. So you can change anything. And I'm straightforward. If you don't put time in, you can have a magician as a coach. It's not going to change anything. And I don't say that. So when someone comes to me and say, look, in the two-handed, they just can't create power. I had one player like this. They just couldn't create power, 10 miles an hour shots. And now after 2 years on the one-hander, they get 50, 60 miles an hour on their shots. I'm just exaggerating, but you have to change something. Besides the lesson, if you don't go on a ball machine or practice at least 2 times, 3 times a week, there's no change. And there's no illusion. I don't tell anyone if they don't want to put the time in and they tell me I need to change this, and that doesn't matter. They doesn't have to see me every day. I know it's expensive, once every now and then, but if like it's enough and they practice on the ball machine or practice it at least 3-4 times a week, yes, you can change things. If you think coming to the lesson you're gonna have a change, there's no way. With 1 time a week, no way. I just need to let that out because people have a different perception of that. Okay, so yeah, forehand. So backhand, two-handed. If you look at the front foot, the contact is kind of the front foot. If you're one-handed, it's like this much more in front of you. It's the same on the forehand. If you have a Western, the contact will be a little bit closer to you. If you have a strong Eastern, it will be a little bit more in front of you. It depends. Like as I said, one-handed backhand's more in front, two-handed a little bit closer. On the forehand side, if you go more to a Western grip, the contact will be closer to you, and the Eastern will be a little bit more in front of you. All right, throw me some more questions, guys, and then I'm gonna wrap the backhand up, go drink something, and gonna talk about the serve afterwards. And if you have a YouTube channel, go follow me on there. On the shoulder turn. So look, guys, that's a good question. How much do I turn? How much do I go around? First of all, you need to make sure that the arms are out a little bit. You don't want to have them in, because if you have them in already before you prep, you're going to have those chicken arms here. So keep them out a little bit. And then when you rotate, everything, I always say everything in moderation. It has to feel comfortable. I don't want someone to go like so far around it doesn't feel, you don't have time for that. Just a natural short rotation, so you have a little bit support from your upper body, from the coil, and you have it easier to hit. So everything that's always in moderation, like on the forehand, I don't need to be like this. If you get to here, you're good. So everything in moderation, and keep it as simple as you can. You're gonna have better shots. All right. And if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. That's why I do that. It just happened to have time now and do something. And yeah, I hope it helps you guys. As I said, we created Tennis Haus as a free platform on Instagram. We have 80,000 followers almost, and on YouTube we're growing. So just try to give back a little bit. Open stands are closed. Great question. So if you look at the best, if they have time, they close their stance. If the ball comes right close to them, they still go from the left to the right leg, and you're gonna hit it. Same on the forehand. If they have time, they're gonna be not perfectly close. You know, they're gonna hit close. If they can, they're gonna be semi-open. And then the open stance, you will only use that if you you will mainly use that if you don't have so much time. You know, you get to the ball there and you hit it on clay court a little bit more, I guess. But I always teach the closed stance first, then the semi-open, then the open, and then I try to always in the same lessons to show them what to do. So what a good thing is, if you have those hula hoops, you can put two where you're standing it, you put a third one here for the open stance, so you step out there, and then when they hit and swing, then you put one more in front. I have a video of that. Whoever asked me that question, I can show you that. Message me, I'm gonna send you the link to the video, how to position like those donuts, so you can practice the different stances when you hit. Let me see what else we got. Great coach, thank you, I appreciate that. Great coaching. I have a problem hitting higher balls when I was thinking, yeah, I mean like the high, so yeah, this was Roger was struggling with Rafa a long time. Hitting here with a one-hander or two-hander is not good. And if you feel comfortable slicing it there, you can knife it, so that might, help it. But the best thing is trying to not get in that position. But let's say you have someone who has a really good kick and you have to hit it up here. The most important is when you go to split that you have momentum going in the shot. You're going to be helpless up here if you're not having support from the split step and from the momentum going into the shot. So you see you get a high ball and you know you're going to hit it there, make sure you step in and hit it. Because if you don't do that, you don't have any support there, and then you're going to struggle even more. And remember, when you hit up here, you hit up and then around. Don't slap it. In the high balls, you hit up and then you go around. Same on the forehand. You go here and you hit up and around. When I'm playing tennis against the wall, I can see that the ball have enough spin. and it's not going long. But when I'm on the court with the same racket, I'm consistently hitting long. So it all depends with hitting long where you're on the court. So if Novak Djokovic takes his rally pace and stays on the baseline on the center mark and hits his, he has this pace in his mind where he has it, it's like automatically. So he hits like this before the other baseline, right? And then when you get closer in the court, you need to learn that you have a different speed of acceleration and hitting through. So because the court's going to shrink, if you're behind the court and you hit with your rally pace, you're going to hit short. So you have to learn, and it's crucial that your coach teaches you that when you're at the baseline, you have a rally pace. You're behind the baseline, you need to put a couple more miles an hour on the ball, put a higher trajectory, so the ball doesn't land short and your opponent can take advantage of it. And when you get inside this service line, you have a shorter distance to the other side, so you have to be more compact and maybe hit a little bit more through the ball. So that is very important that you learn all the different lengths of the shots, when you're in defense, when you're in offense, and when you have a rally shot. Hope that helps. Alan, thank you for the nice words. I appreciate it, guys. I will have a little water break now, and then I'll come back with the surf Q&A, guys. I hope that's helping a little bit. I just, thank you so much. And if you guys have a YouTube channel, please follow, because I'm starting to make longer videos there, and we just love what we do. And again, thank you, Sergio Tacchini, for being our partner, and Diadem. If you have any questions about Sergio as well, about Diadem, about the Topspin Pro, we only partner with the best. So let me know. Shoot me a message if you need to know anything there. And I'll see you in 5 minutes, guys, with the surf. Thank you.